You're listening to the Icandemy Podcast, the podcast for people who can but don't know how. This is where you get actionable steps to turn vague dreams into blissful realities. And I'm your host, Omoshola Victoria Wolabi. So let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Icandemy Podcast. How you all doing? How was your week? Let me know. Head on over to www.icandemy.org. There's a tool there where you can send me a voice message. And if that's not your jam, send me an email instead to hello@icandemy.org. How you all doing today? Super excited to be here once again. And today we're going to be talking about the unusual advantage that makes us truly powerful. And this is continuing from our last week's episode where we talked about the anatomy of you. If this is your jam, keep on listening. Are you at the verge of quitting your online business? Wait. Before you do that, hear this. If you have been struggling to attract clients, I totally understand how that must feel. I was also at the verge of quitting as well because I just felt everything I was doing was making no sense, attracting no clients, and I was so broke and such in a state of despair. But fortunately, I cracked the code. I got the code and I'm about to hand it to you for free. So if you've been struggling to attract clients into your business and you're just at the verge of giving it all up, try this first. Head on over to learn.icandemy.org where I share with you how to make your first $10,000 online as a brand new coach, even if you have no social media following. Yes. No huge email list and no raving testimonials yet. Head on over to see how you can create a powerful system that works to attract clients and leads for you on demand. Head on over to learn.icandemy.org to get started. Okay, welcome back. And now I want to talk about the unusual advantage that makes us truly powerful. In the last episode, we talked about the anatomy of you and we established the fact that you are a two-in-one package. You are a spirit living in a body, okay? And you need both to function effectively. Now, your spirit is what was made in the image and the likeness of God. I know people have tried to deceive the human race to say it's our bodies that were made in the image of God, but God is not a human being. God is a spirit. So it is our spirit that was made in the image and the likeness of God. And you see that word there, image. It means representation. The original Hebrew word for that word image is not actually image. That was like a mix in translation, right? The original word there is Zelem, which means representing someone or something. So you were made in God's image as a representation of God, which is your spirit, and His likeness. Now, the likeness means pattern, shape, or form. So it is your spirit that was made in the image and the likeness of God. And then God got creative. He's a creative God. He got creative and He developed different shades and hues and coded different genetics to make up the body. So we are all made in the image and likeness of God. It doesn't matter. Like in the last episode, we talked about, in order for us to understand this concept, we use the analogy of a land space and a house. So if you want to if you find a location you love and you want to make it your home, you're not just going to move your things onto the land, you're going to build the house first. Now, does it really matter if the color of your house is orange, green, purple, brown, white? It doesn't really matter what the color of your house is. The fact is you have a house that works, that's beautiful, that's functional, that is made with eco-friendly materials so that you can live in that environment. It doesn't really matter what the color of your house is. In the same way, it doesn't really matter what the color of your skin or the shade of your skin is. That's not the point. The point is you are made in the image, representation of God and His likeness, in His form and pattern, so that you can come here and fulfill something for Him, right? Because God is not a human being. He needs us to fulfill certain things for Him that needs to be done on here, right? Now, in today's episode, I want to really break this down, right? So now that we know, we've established that we are a spirit living in a body, there has to be a bridge in between those two realms. And remember, we said the unusual advantage that makes us truly powerful is the fact that we have access to the duality of realms. Now, there has to be, in order for us to be very effective in walking in this duality of realms, there has to be a bridge. The bridge between the spirit and the body is what is called the soul. The bridge between both realms is a faculty called the soul. So the soul is that bridge that it's like you have a bridge between two places. The bridge connects, right? We know a bridge connects two places. And when you go on that bridge, it takes you back and forth. You can go to one end and come back to the other end. That is what your soul does for you. So the soul is the bridge that connects those two places. And within this faculty of the soul, we have other layers within the faculty of the soul. Okay, family, let's face it. We've all felt pain. We've suffered the losses. You know what it's like to want something so bad, but not see a path to its accomplishment. The question, however, is, do you know how to pick yourself up and move on despite what has happened? This is what I share with you inside of my new book, Good Medicine for the Crushed Spirit, a practical guide to helping you find purpose when adversity strikes. Inside this book, you will find personal stories, relatable biblical tales, and anecdotes that prove you are never alone in your despair and will inspire you to turn pain, discomfort, disappointment, or setbacks into something positive that works for you. So if you're ready to change your life in meaningful and purposeful ways, get your copy of this book today and let the transformation begin. But remember that every human being has a soul that makes us connected, right, to the spirit, which is the source of who we are, which is God. And this is what makes us truly different from the animal kingdom and other living elements like plants. So we know that because of that faculty of the soul that connects us to our source, that is what makes us truly unique from the animal kingdom. So we have to be constantly connected to our source in order for us to exist and fulfill purpose on this planet. Because even if you look at if we're not connected to our source, that is when we die. If you look at, for example, the trees, when you uproot a tree from the soil, it withers away. So that is where the soul exists, so that it gives us that continuous access between the duality of both realms. So in this faculty called the soul, there are 3 levels of consciousness living in there. But before I cover that, I want you to first of all understand that we are spirits living in a body that possesses a soul. Okay? 3 levels of consciousness. We are spirits living in a body that possess a soul. Our conscience is the thought life of our spirit. So when you do something wrong and something within you starts to say, that was messed up, like you really shouldn't have done that, that is your conscience. That is your spirit thinking out loud for you to say, you've messed up. That behavior you just did now is not a representation of how God would have done it. So that is your conscience telling you that you have messed up. So that is your spirit thinking out loud, okay? Now, your brain is the thought life of your body. Your brain is the thought life of your body. It means your brain can say, okay, your stomach has just ingested something that is not right. Your brain sends a signal and your stomach starts to hurt. It is your brain controlling things, not your stomach. So when you ingest something that's not right for your body and your stomach starts to hurt, your brain is thinking for your body. Your brain is telling you, thinking out loud to say, you've eaten something that's not right for your body. You need to expel that thing, either by vomiting it or going to the toilet. You get my point, right? In the same way, our mind is the thought life of our soul, okay? Our mind is the thought life of our soul. Remember I said within the soul exists 3 faculties, 3 dimensions, right? 3 layers in there, right? So the mind exists within the soul, right? And that mind is the thought life of the soul. That is where we process our thought. We process things. We try to make sense of what is good and what is evil. So our brain helps us to think with our mind or our conscience. Very important. Don't miss that part, okay? And if you do not have a brain, you cannot listen to your mind or to your conscience. The same way if our spirit leaves us, we die. And when a person is brain dead, he's dead. You see that the anatomy of us is so precise that everything works together to make us who we truly are. Just the way our brain thinks in our body, our mind thinks in our soul, and our conscience thinks in our spirit. And remember, you're a spirit living in a body with a bridge called the soul. Now, I want us to look at those 3 layers within the soul that I talked about earlier. Within the soul, there are 3 layers. We have the mind, which is the thinking part of the soul. We have the will, and we have our emotions. So we have the mind, the will, and the emotions. Those are the 3 layers within the soul. Can you see how powerful you are? That you are created, every part of you is created with intent to fulfill something truly amazing on this planet. So don't go walking around with your head down thinking you are not, you don't belong here or you don't have what it takes. Girl, guy, you do. Okay, so this is what I wanted us to touch on today on this episode. I want you to really understand the unusual advantage that makes you truly powerful. The fact that you are a spirit living in a body with a bridge called the soul that gets you to connect. And that is why prayer is important. It's important to look after your soul, because when you go into prayer, you are communicating with the spirit realm. You are going back to your source, who is God, and say, God, what is the agenda for today? What would you have me do for you today? How can I represent you better? And that is when we get to download, we get to create powerful things into the physical. So as always, thank you so much for listening. I'm super excited that you're here and you keep coming back every week. And if you haven't joined us inside of Mogul Mindset, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Head on over to mogul.icandemy.org and sign up today, because you get more teachings like this inside there, and you get personal access to me where I get to hold your hand all the way to world domination. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you on the next episode. And until then, keep on shining. This episode is sponsored by our very own Mogul Mindset Training. Are you ready to embrace new experiences, see opportunities where you thought there was none, and totally surprise yourself? Because you can, by unleashing the power of your mind. Mogul Mindset System is a 5-step system that helps you retrain your mind to work with you and not against you, so you can awaken your inner giant, 10x your impact, your income, and become truly unstoppable. The truth is, you, my friend, have a superpower, your creative genius. And I'm here to make that power multiply manyfold so you can get past fear, self-doubt, and finally start working and thriving in your life and business. Ready to unleash your superpowers? I thought you would. Head over to mogul.icandemy.org. That's mogul.icandemy.org to learn more. So there you have it. Thank you so much for listening. And for more content like this, follow us on our social media handles. On Facebook, it's at Icandemy, the Facebook page. On Instagram, it's at Icandemy. Or come say hello over on my personal page. On Instagram, it's at Omoshola Speaks. On Facebook, it's Victoria Wolabi. Feel free to reach out, introduce yourself, say hello. I love meeting you. And if you have any stories that you feel will inspire another woman to action, I want to hear from you. I really do. I love hearing from you. Send me an email to hello@icandemy.org. So it's hello@icandemy.org.